Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Vanessa, which is titled like this. At a family meeting, Mom boasted, "Your sister finally got the perfect house. When will you achieve this?" I just smiled already. You could have seen it. If you'd come to my birthday party. Everyone stared at her and she blushed. Well, let's go. I'm Vanessa, 30 years old, and I just bought a house, not just any house. A gorgeous 3-bedroom place with an outdoor terrace and this amazing garden full of flowers. The realtor kept going on about the mature landscaping and established flower beds, but all I could see was my morning coffee spot and weekend gardening sessions. Standing in that empty living room with the keys in my hand, I felt like I was going to burst. This was mine. After years of crappy landlords and thin walls where I could hear my neighbors' every fight, I finally had my own space. The mortgage. Paperwork was still warm in my purse, and I wanted to call someone, anyone, to share this moment. But I didn't. I had this crazy idea brewing. What if I surprised everyone? My birthday was coming up in a few weeks, and I could kill 2 birds with one stone. A surprise birthday party / housewarming. My parents would flip when they walked in and realized their daughter owned actual property. My sister Claire would probably die of shock. See, my family has this thing where they think I'm the screw-up. I'm the younger daughter who never quite measured up to Claire's standards. She's 32, has this fancy job in marketing, and always seems to have her life together. Meanwhile, I've been bouncing between rental apartments and entry-level jobs for the past decade. At least, that's what they think. What they don't know is that I've been working my ass off at a tech startup for the past 3 years. We got acquired 6 months ago, and suddenly my stock options were worth real money. Enough money to put down on this house and still have savings left over, but I never told them about the job change or the windfall. Why would I? They never asked about my life anyway. My parents, David and Linda, have always been laser focused on Claire. She was the star student, the one who got into the good college, the one who landed the corporate job straight out of graduation. I was the afterthought, the one who needed to find herself. Even now at 30, they still talk to me like I'm some lost teenager who might figure things out eventually. The plan was perfect. I'd text everyone about my birthday party, get them all excited, and then surprise, reveal that we're celebrating at my new house. I could already picture my mom's face when she realized her failure daughter had bought a place before Claire did. Spent the next 2 weeks getting the house ready. I bought furniture, hung pictures, and even planted some new flowers in the garden. Everything had to be perfect for the big reveal. I made a guest list. My parents, Claire, and my closest friends, Sarah, Mike, and Jenny. Sarah and I have been tight since college. Mike's this guy I met at work who became like a brother to me. And Jenny's been my neighbor turned friend for years. The text went out on a Tuesday evening. Hey, everyone. I'm throwing a birthday party next Saturday at 7 p.m. Can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be special this year. I attached my new address without explanation, figuring they'd just assume I was renting a new place or something. Then I waited and waited. Usually my friends respond within hours, but my family, well, they're not exactly prompt with their replies. Sarah texted back within minutes. Oh my God, yes. New address, did you move? Can't wait. Mike sent a thumbs up emoji and wouldn't miss it. Jenny called me immediately, demanding details about the special part. But radio silence from my parents and Claire. All week, nothing. Friday night, my phone finally buzzed. A text from my mom, Vanessa. We won't be able to make it to your birthday, Claire. Got a promotion at work, and we're throwing her a celebration party the same night. Sorry, honey, maybe next year. I stared at that message for a solid 5 minutes. Maybe next year, for my birthday. One typed and deleted about 10 different responses. Finally, I sent back, Mom, Claire's party could be any other day. This is my birthday. We're talking about. Her response came 20 minutes later. Her promotion is a big deal, Vanessa. This party is important for her career, you understand? Important for her career, not. We're sorry, we'll miss your birthday, or let's reschedule. Just, Claire's party was more important than mine, again. I looked around my new living room, at the decorations I'd already started putting up, at the menu I planned, at the cake I'd ordered. All of it suddenly felt stupid. Here I was, 30 years old, still hoping my family would show up for me. The worst part? Claire never even texted Dot not a happy birthday or sorry I'll miss it or even a heard you're having a party. Complete radio silence from my big sister. I sat on my new couch, the first couch I'd ever bought myself, and thought about all the birthdays they'd missed or forgotten. Last year, they remembered a week late. The year before, it was 3 weeks. The year before that, they sent a card a month. After the fact with a note about how busy they'd been, when they did remember on time, it was always just a text or a phone call. No gifts, no effort, just happy birthday, honey, and that was it. Meanwhile, Claire's birthdays were full productions with family dinners and thoughtful presents. You know what? Screw them. I picked up my phone and called Sarah. Hey, change of. Plans for Saturday, I said when she answered Dot. It's just going to be us friends. And I have something huge to tell you guys. Everything okay? She asked, hearing something in my voice. More than okay. Just wait until you see where we're partying. If my family couldn't find time for my birthday, they sure as hell didn't deserve to know about my house. This was going to be the best birthday party ever. With the people who actually gave a damn about me. Saturday came and I threw the best damn birthday party I'd ever had. Sarah, Mike, and Jenny showed up and completely freaked out when they saw the house. Their reactions were priceless. We spent the evening on the terrace, eating takeout and drinking wine. They kept asking about the house, how I afforded it, when I bought it. I told them about the startup acquisition and the stock options. It felt so good to share this with people who actually cared. The party was perfect. Everything I'd wanted, just without the family drama. After everyone left, I sat alone surrounded by empty wine bottles and birthday presents. My phone had been quiet all day. No calls from my parents, no texts from Claire, nothing. Not even a happy birthday message. Months passed. My friends knew about the house, but I never told any relatives. I specifically asked my friends not to post about it on social media. I didn't want word getting back to my parents. The silence from my family continued. My mom would text occasionally, short messages about weather or asking if I was eating enough vegetables. Nothing meaningful. Claire never contacted me at all. I threw myself into making the house perfect. I painted rooms, installed new fixtures, and spent weekends in the garden. My neighbors were friendly, and I had regular barbecues with my friends. Life was good. Then, in early March, my phone rang. My mom's name popped up. Vanessa, how are you? Honey, your father and I are having a family dinner next weekend. All the relatives will be there. We haven't seen you in so long. Something in her tone made me suspicious. My mom never called for casual family dinners. There was always an agenda. When is it? I asked. Next Saturday at 6. Can you make it? I'll be there, I said finally. Saturday came, and I baked an apple pie from scratch. I knocked on my parents' door, hearing voices and laughter inside. The dining room table was extended, set for about 12 people. My mom opened the door. Vanessa, you made it. The living room was packed, with relatives I hadn't seen in years. Aunt Carol, Uncle Jim, my cousins Mark and Lisa. Everyone rushed over, asking the usual questions. Are you dating anyone? When are you getting married? What are you doing for work? I smiled and gave vague answers. This was exactly why I avoided family gatherings. Everyone always wanted to know why I wasn't married, why I wasn't more successful, why I wasn't more like Claire. Speaking of Claire, I spotted her across the room, practically glowing with happiness. There was a guy next to her, tall, expensive suit, arm around her waist. She kept showing off her left hand to the other women. "Let me take that pie, my mom," said, whisking it away to the kitchen before I could protest. My dad steered me toward the dining room. I saw my assigned seat, the very last chair, squeezed into the corner, as far from my parents and Claire as possible. I was literally the afterthought, even at the table arrangement. But honestly, I was almost relieved I could sit quietly and avoid most of the family interrogation from this spot. "Dinner is served," my mom announced. I settled into my corner seat. Everyone was chatting and laughing, passing dishes around. The food was good. My mom had made her usual spread of roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and vegetables. I ate quietly, listening to conversations about work and kids and vacation plans. Then my mom stood up and tapped her wine glass with a knife. Everyone, we have some wonderful news to share tonight." The table went quiet, all eyes turned to her. She was beaming, practically vibrating with excitement. "Our Claire has bought herself a beautiful little house. We're so proud of her." Everyone burst into applause. I clapped too, genuinely surprised. Claire had bought a house? When? How had I not heard about this? "But that's not all," my mom continued, her voice getting higher with excitement. "Claire is also planning to announce her engagement very soon." More applause, even louder this time. Claire was blushing and holding up her left hand, showing off a diamond ring that caught the light. Her boyfriend, no, fiancé, was grinning and accepting congratulations. My dad stood up, raising his wine glass. "We have so much to celebrate tonight. So many reasons to be happy. And it's all thanks to our eldest daughter. The way he said it with such pride and emphasis made my stomach clench. I'd heard that tone before, the one that implied Claire was the real daughter, the one who mattered. An awkward silence fell over the table. Even the relatives seemed to sense the tension. All eyes were on me now, waiting to see how I'd react. To being so obviously excluded from the praise. My mom turned to me with this mocking smile I knew all too well. "Claire bought herself the perfect house, Vanessa. When do you think you'll be able to achieve something like that? Or are you planning to keep wandering around rented apartments forever?" The table got even quieter. Everyone was staring at me now, waiting for my reaction. I could feel their eyes boring into me, expecting me to get embarrassed, to blush, to cry, to run away like I used to when I was younger. I was used to being compared to Claire. It had been happening my whole life. But my parents used to try to be subtle about it, at least in front of other people. This was different. This was deliberately cruel, designed to humiliate me in front of the entire extended family. But I didn't get embarrassed. I didn't blush. I sure as hell didn't cry. Instead, I very deliberately put my fork down on the table, took a slow sip of water. I cleared my throat and looked my mother straight in the eye. "Actually, Mom, I already have achieved that. I bought myself a house." The silence that followed my words was deafening. Every single person at that table stared at me like I'd just announced I was an alien. My mom's mocking smile froze on her face. My dad's wine glass stopped halfway to his mouth. Even Claire's fiancé looked confused. "What?" my mom finally managed to say. I said I bought myself a house. I repeated calmly. "I've had it for months now." Everyone gasped, literally gasped. Like a chorus of shocked relatives all sucking in air at the same time. My mom's face went through about 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, confusion, anger, and then this weird suspicious look. You bought a house, she said slowly, like she was testing the words, really. Then why didn't you tell us about it? I smiled at her, the same sweet smile she'd given me moments before. Well, Mom, you could have seen it if you'd come to my birthday party. After all, I celebrated my last birthday in my new home. More gasps. Aunt Carol dropped her fork. Uncle Jim's mouth actually fell open. Your birthday party, Aunt Carol said, turning to my mom. Linda, why didn't you go to Vanessa's birthday party? My mom's face was getting red now. She was opening and closing her mouth like a fish, clearly trying to think of an explanation that wouldn't make her look terrible. We had a scheduling conflict, she said weakly. A scheduling conflict, I said. My voice still perfectly calm. Is that what we're calling it? Because I remember the exact words you used, Mom. You said Claire's promotion party was more important than my birthday. The relatives all turned to look at my mom with these questioning expressions. I could see the wheels turning in their heads, trying to figure out what kind of parents would skip their daughter's birthday for a work party. You're exaggerating, my mom said desperately. Am I? Because not only did you miss my birthday, but you've missed several others too. In fact, you haven't come to any of my celebrations in 6 years. You usually forget about my birthday entirely and congratulate me a week or month later. The silence was getting uncomfortable now. All the relatives were looking back and forth between me and my parents like they were watching a tennis match. Uncle Jim cleared his throat. 6 years? You haven't been to Vanessa's birthday in 6 years? Aunt Carol was looking at my mom with this expression I'd never seen before, like she was seeing her sister in a completely different light. Linda, she said slowly, you told everyone that you had the perfect family, that you loved both daughters equally. You said Vanessa didn't come to family events because she hadn't achieved anything in life. Oh, that was interesting. So my mom had been talking shit about me to the relatives, painting me as the loser daughter who was too embarrassed to show her face at family gatherings. I never said that. My mom protested, but her voice was shaking. You did, Aunt Carol said firmly. You said Vanessa was a failure who couldn't get her life together. But if she's a failure, how did she buy a house? And why didn't you go to her birthday parties? Uncle Jim was nodding now. Linda, this doesn't sound like equal treatment to me. It sounds like favoritism. Favoritism, my dad sputtered. That's ridiculous. We treat both our daughters the same. I almost laughed out loud at that, really, Dad. When's the last time you forgot Claire's birthday? When's the last time you skipped one of her celebrations for someone else's party? He opened his mouth to answer, then closed it again. Because we all knew the answer. Never. They'd never forgotten Claire's birthday or missed one of her events. Is this getting out of hand? My mom said, her voice getting shriller. Vanessa, you're making us look bad in front of everyone. I'm not making you look bad, Mom. I'm just telling the truth about how you've treated me for years. Claire, who had been sitting there in stunned silence this whole time, finally spoke up. Vanessa, you're ruining everything. This was supposed to be a celebration. A celebration of what? Your house, your engagement? Because it's always about you, isn't it, Claire? Everything is always about you. That's not fair, she said, but her voice was weak. Isn't it? Tell me, Claire, when's the last time you called me? When's the last time you even sent me a text that wasn't about you? She stared at me, clearly trying to think of an answer. The silence stretched on. I could put all of your late birthday messages in our family group chat, I said conversationally. The one that includes most of the people sitting at this table. Then everyone could see exactly how this family treats me. Vanessa, stop. My mom hissed through clenched teeth. Stop what? Stop telling the truth. Stop defending myself. Or stop embarrassing you in front of everyone. Cousin Mark, who had been quiet this whole time, suddenly spoke up. Wait, so you really bought a house? Like, actually bought one? 3 bedrooms, outdoor terrace, beautiful garden, I said. I've been living there for months. That's amazing, he said. Congratulations. Thank you, Mark. It's nice to have someone in the family congratulate me for once. That hit home. I could see it in everyone's faces, the realization that they'd been fed a completely different story about me, and now they were seeing the truth. I think we should all calm down, my dad said, but his voice sounded defeated. No, Dad. I think we should all be honest for once. I think everyone here should know exactly what kind of family you pretend to have versus what kind of family you actually have. My mom stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Vanessa, you need to leave right now. I looked around the table at all the shocked faces staring back at me. These people had believed for years that I was the family failure, the daughter who couldn't get her life together. Now they were seeing the real story. You know what, Mom? I think you're right. I should leave. I stood up slowly, smoothing down my dress. But not because I'm embarrassed or ashamed. I'm leaving because I'm tired of pretending that this family dysfunction is normal. The silence followed me all the way to the front door. I could hear urgent whispers starting as I put on my coat, but I didn't look back. I got home that night feeling lighter than I had in years. The confrontation had been brutal, but necessary. For the first time in my life, I'd stood up to my family's bullshit instead of just taking it quietly. My phone started ringing around 10 p.m. My mom's name kept flashing on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then my dad called, then Claire. I ignored them all. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a bunch of text messages. I made coffee and sat on my terrace, reading through them while birds chirped in my garden. From my mom, Vanessa, you embarrassed us in front of everyone. How? Could you do that? From my dad, your behavior last night was unacceptable. Call us immediately. From Claire, you ruined my announcement. Everyone was talking about you instead of my engagement. I deleted them all without responding. If they wanted to apologize for years of treating me like garbage, they could start with that instead of blaming me for their embarrassment. The messages kept coming all week. Long paragraphs about how I'd ruined their reputation and how all the relatives were asking uncomfortable questions now. Apparently, Aunt Carol had called my mom the next day, demanding to know why she'd lied about me being a failure. Now, everyone thinks we're a dysfunctional family, one message read. You need to fix this. Fix what? The truth. I wasn't going to apologize for defending myself or for achieving something they said I never could. A week later, I was working in my garden when I heard car doors slamming in my driveway. I looked up to see my parents and Claire walking toward my front door. Someone had obviously given them my address. I wiped my hands on my jeans and met them. At the door, they stood there looking uncomfortable, taking in the beautiful front porch and landscaping. Nice place, Claire said, and I could hear the envy in her voice. It's bigger than mine. What do you want? I asked, not inviting them in. We need to talk, my mom said. Can we come in? I reluctantly stepped aside and let them into my living room. They looked around like they were touring a museum, taking in the hardwood floors, the crown molding, the furniture I'd carefully chosen. Vanessa, my mom started, we have a problem. Ever since last weekend, all our relatives have been calling. U.S. They're asking questions about why we didn't know about your house, why we missed your birthdays. And I said, and now they think we're terrible parents. My dad exploded. They think we don't love you. Well, do you? The question hung in the air. None of them answered right away. Of course we do. My mom said finally, but it sounded forced. You're our daughter. Funny way of showing it. Claire stepped forward. Look, we need to fix this situation. I'm having my housewarming party next month, and my engagement party, and my wedding after that. Half the family is saying they don't want to come because of all this drama. So you need to have another housewarming party, my mom said. We'll help you plan it. We'll invite all the relatives. Then we can tell everyone that we helped you, that we've reconciled, that you forgave us. I stared at her. You want me to lie? We want you to help us save face, my dad said. One party to show everyone we're a normal family. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. They were asking me to participate in their delusion, to help them maintain their perfect family image. No, I won't lie for you. I won't pretend we have a good relationship. I won't help you convince everyone that you're wonderful parents. Claire's face went red. Fine. Then we won't invite you to my wedding. Good, I said. I wouldn't come anyway. They all stared at me like I'd slapped them. You don't mean that, my mom said weakly. I absolutely mean it. I'm done pretending. I'm done making excuses for how you treat me. I'm done being the family disappointment when I'm actually doing better than all of you thought possible. This is ridiculous, my dad said. You're our daughter. You can't just cut us off. I walked to the front door and held it open. I think you should leave now. They left, but not quietly. Claire was crying. My mom was saying this wasn't over, and my dad was muttering about ungrateful children. I closed the door behind them and leaned against it, feeling exhausted but free. 2 weeks later, Sarah called me with gossip. I heard through my cousin that Claire's housewarming party was a total disaster. Hardly anyone showed up. Really? Yeah. Apparently, most of the relatives boycotted it. They're all Team Vanessa now. I felt a little bad about that, but not much. Actions have consequences, and my family was finally facing theirs. Over the next few months, something wonderful happened. My relatives started calling me directly. Aunt Carol invited me to her daughter's graduation party. Uncle Jim asked me to bring my famous apple pie to his barbecue. Cousin Mark wanted to see my house and get decorating advice for his apartment. I went to all of it. For the first time in years, I was actually enjoying family events. Without my parents and Claire there to make everything about them or to put me down, I could just be myself. The relatives apologized for believing my parents' version of events. They said they'd always wondered why I never showed up to things, but my mom had convinced them I was ashamed of my failures. We should have reached out to you directly, Aunt Carol said. We should have known something was off. 6 months later, I'm closer to my extended family than I've ever been. I host regular dinners at my house. I'm part of the group chat where everyone shares photos and makes plans. I'm finally treated like a valued family member instead of an afterthought. My parents and Claire, radio silence. I heard Claire got married last month. The wedding was small. Apparently, a lot of people found excuses not to attend. I don't miss them. I thought I would, but I don't. My life is peaceful now, honest, full of people who actually care about me and want to celebrate my successes instead of diminishing them. Sometimes I walk through my beautiful house, looking at the rooms I've decorated and the garden I've cultivated, and I feel proud, not just of what I've accomplished, but of how I finally stood up for myself.